I'm so excited to share the process of setting up our reptile room. We were lucky enough to be custom building our house, so from the beginning we chose to include 9 extra outlets on the back wall on 3 separate breakers to help eliminate the risk of overloading a single breaker, which can lead to fires. Good thing this is our forever home, as I'm sure it may raise some eyebrows if we were ever to try to sell it. Next was setting up all the tanks. I just love the sleek look of these enclosures made by Dubia.com. They all shipped in great condition and were surprisingly easy to set up. Even though I was 6 months pregnant at the time, the build process wasn't bad at all and the whole family helped out. Although you don't have to do this, I did decide to add extra sealant to the inside as I plan on having bioactive enclosures. I did this by first using animal-safe silicone caulk to line all the edges and the corners. After these were fully dry, I then went over them and the entire bottom with a rubber sealant coating. Be sure to do all of this outside with plenty of ventilation. In addition, it had a week or 2 to dry and air out before we set up the bioactive tanks and introduced our critters. One thing I love about these tanks is that they were easily stackable using the special spacers provided. They're made out of durable materials and the glass doors were very thoughtfully designed. The locking and insulating elements are quite elegant compared to some others that I've worked with. The ventilation is on top, which I like, and I haven't had any issues with maintaining humidity for the different species I keep. Now on to the heating and lighting. I got these Wilbanks radiant heat panels, which are the best quality around. I love how slim they are and how they nicely fit between the tanks. When using these, it's a must to hook them up to a thermostat, which was very straightforward. These were then hooked up to the outlets in the back of the room, which you saw earlier. For the lighting, I've been experimenting with different kinds. I love the grow lights provided by the Biodude as they're very bright and the plants have been thriving with them. I also tried out these under cabinet lights, which I brought from Amazon, and while I like that you could string multiple together to cover an entire row of tanks with one plug, it's not as bright and doesn't sit as flush with the top of the tanks. Of course, this does not include the UV lighting for the reptiles that benefit from it, but I'll include more on that in the individual builds for each tank. I put all of these lights on automatic timers, which is a must if you have multiple enclosures, and I hung the thermostats on the front of each tank for easy monitoring. Next, it was time to set up all the bioactive enclosures. I got all of my supplies from the Biodude, who I could trust for top quality substrate, cork bark, branches, and plants. It's seriously important to make sure you're getting your bioactive supplies from a reputable source. Years ago, when I was first starting out, I made the mistake of including plants from a local nursery that unknowingly introduced mealybugs to my enclosures. I struggled for months trying to get rid of them, but the stress wasn't worth it, and I had to completely start over with all of my plants. No reptile room would be complete without additional reptile bathroom. I seriously am so grateful for a husband that is so tolerant of my exquisite taste. This wallpaper I bought off of Etsy, and the tiles in the shower are meant to look like reptile scales. My husband even surprised me with these gecko hangers. How cute are they? I can't wait to show you the specifics on the individual builds for each species I keep. But for now, let me know what you think of my overall setup. Is there anything that you would change? I personally wish I had an inch or 2 on each side, which would have made it easier to run the wires, but our reptile room ended up being a little narrower than what the plans had initially called for. Can't wait to hear what you think.